Hi everyone, it's your BibaGirrrl again. I'm doing something a little different today. I am interviewing my husband, Patrick Opitz, who is an actor. And as I mentioned on my SoundCloud as well as the video last time, that I decided to make a special video that to record it at the time when we both are available and not off of work and tired and sweaty from the gym. We're all looking fresh. So I decided to have my first interview to discuss acting and his acting career and plans for the future and all that. So I thought it would be a fun little way to you could get to know him, and you see sometimes I retweet his pictures and post his pictures and talk about his various web series he's in and different acting projects. So we thought we could do a little cross promotion that way. So we'll get started here. So Patrick, when did you get your first taste of acting?
When I was really, really young, and was the mayor of Bugtown in a play called Going Buggy.
Going Buggy. And what grade was that?
Oh, that either third or fourth.
Okay.
My details are a little fuzzy.
Okay, so that was like elementary school.
Yeah.
Okay, and were you nervous the first time you were on stage in front of people?
Yes, I was. I was a really shy kid, so I was nervous about being up there on stage, getting things just right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually easier when you have someone else giving you your lines, and you kind of get out of yourself and get to be someone different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you did many plays for a long time in college in the theater department at St. Bonaventure University, and then later in various local community theater in the district, Maryland, and Virginia area. Which was your favorite play to do in terms of content? If you were to look at all those plays as a whole, which was your favorite content-wise?
I would say that Ghosts
No.
that I did with the Garrett Theater Players was
at St. Bonaventure.
Was one of the my favorites as far as content goes. Being kind of a serious drama where a lot of the conflict is how characters relate to each other and what they're dealing with personally. You need to kind of be able to be really versatile in how you're expressing that on stage. So that was a lot more challenging than most of the other types of things that you see that are a little lighter.
Oh, okay. Which was your favorite play to do in terms of working with a collaboration as a team, with like a fun group of people to work with and a fun play and fun, a good collaboration?
The most fun that I've had as far as that kind of collaboration work has got to be, again, another Garrett Theater Players show, Romeo and Juliet.
Ah, okay. And it was just a good fit with all the people who are working on the project together.
For one thing, it's a production with a huge cast, so there was lots of people to interact with, and also, given that it's a period piece with interesting costumes and weaponry to play with, and kind of playing around with the Elizabethan era words, there's a lot of fun you can have with it.
Okay, and you've often talked about your St. Bonaventure favorite theater professor, lovingly named Doc. What's your best memory of him, and what was the best lesson he taught you about acting?
After every final weekend where we have a production, we'd have the post-production party, and it was always at Doc's house. And Doc would always make one of those Stouffer's lasagnas,
Heat those up.
Yeah, so that was always, one of the highlights, those parties. And one of the best pieces of advice that he gave me was if you've got talent, you need to use it, and you can't let it go to waste. And after I had gotten out of actively doing plays for quite a while, I realized that I wasn't living up to that, and that I had to take his advice and go back and do it.
Right, right. And that takes me to my next question, which is I can remember when we were both sort of at a creative crossroads with our careers after we got married, and you wanted to start acting more, and I was needing more than in my hairdressing career than just standing behind the chair. Even owning a shop wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be because it was just higher stress level plus behind the chair responsibilities, and we both decided to start using social media to help to connect with those. You were using it to connect with those in the local film community, and that's when I decided to expand my brand and creativity, working more with other creative outlets besides the beauty world. So we both saw beyond the aspect of using social media, which was instead of like where people were saying which one of my friends needs a cup of coffee this morning or which one is having a migraine on Facebook, and we both were using social media to connect to new phases of what we want to do, which is where I'm thinking of is would you say that social media is helping actors? It's helping actors to connect with, like, to find out, like, where the auditions are and connect with other people who are trying to find work and that kind of thing. But does it sort of like seeing what other people are doing, can that also make you stressed in the comparison, the way like there are many people who will say social media can be like, oh, well, I'm jealous that these people went on vacation, or I'm jealous these people were doing this, and comparing yourself to, like, lifestyle wise. But then with acting, when you see that other people are doing things, or seeing, even if it's like, oh, they were doing this without me, or I was doing, does that make the comparison harder? Is it sort of like a double-edged sword?
The good aspect of social media is that it kind of levels the playing field. You don't have to funnel everything through a few casting sites or a few casting agencies. Now, some people may say the downside is what you're talking about. You see stuff and you feel like you're being left out. I don't really see it that way because I'm not in a competition with everyone else. What I do for creative fulfillment. It's not about, well, I'm competing with this person for a part or competing with that person for a credit. It's, I'm doing this because I want to do this, and if they want to do their thing, that's cool too.
Okay, well, that's good.
It's all about the artistry rather than trying to score points.
Okay, that's good. So far, which has been, now that you're doing more films and web series, so far, which has been the most challenging role for you to play in films, and why?
The most challenging role that I've had to play so far would be Chad Sullivan in Dirt Old Superstition.
Okay. And that's the one that everyone says that you do such a good job. But those of us who know you, and that's what I'm saying for my fans, followers, if you have not seen me post about Dirt Old Superstition, go to you can look it up for under Dirt Old Superstition, but what's the production company? It's under the production.
The production is 2 Coins.
Oh, 2 Coins, and it's the number 2 Coins.
2 is in Roman numerals.
Oh, Roman numeral 2. Okay, so 1 1.
Yes.
And then coins. Yeah. So that's the website, the YouTube channel to subscribe to or to check out, and all the dirt old superstition stuff is there. Okay, so they've now done you've now done up to episode 3
Yes,
with that.
we are halfway through season 1.
So there's a whole season. Okay.
Season 2.
Okay.
A little later on in the year.
Okay, so that character of Chad was challenging. How?
Most of the characters I get are kind of like myself.
Mm-hmm.
But Chad is someone who is totally opposite of my personality.
Right. He's very egotistical, which
Chad's very egotistical. He is not shy about voicing his opinions.
Mm-hmm. He's basically like your typical jock, wannabe stud, whatever, and
kind of like that. He's also kind of living in his own bubble. He doesn't seem to realize all these supernatural events are going on around him, and that has a lot to do with him living in his own head. And
he doesn't care what's happening as long as he gets the girl or tries to get the girl or
You know, zombie apocalypse, vampire attacks, werewolves, whatever. As long as he can get the girl,
right. And that's the opposite of you, because you're extremely unselfish, and you're for an actor you're extremely, I would say, you're unego driven, and so that sort of, how did you get yourself into that mindset of to be so ego driven, or did you think of people that you knew in the past and try to imitate the most obnoxious people at school? Or
well, some of that was studying that type of person in real life, but also a lot of it was watching movies that take place in high school, where you have people who are walking, talking stereotypes because they have to play all that up for the movie. Because no one is really that much of a stereotype, but
unless they themselves are acting that to maintain an image in high school or college or life themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. The idea is to take that kernel and to play it up big on kind of a larger than life level.
Okay. And so, have there ever been any characters could you see yourself playing for a long time? Like if this indie film web series, like this, you're saying it's a whole season, and what if they do season 2, and then you're still playing Chad, or if it even got picked up as a TV series, could you see yourself playing that role, or would you prefer, like, if there was something else that you'd rather be doing, that you've done, that you could see yourself doing better for long term?
I think it's fun to play with different types of roles. I have done a lot of more kind of sci-fi oriented stuff, and that's one thing that I really like doing. Roles like Montague in Arcane Wars, or Shine in Swords of Insurgency. What I think I like about playing Chad is that it gets me out of that mindset and gives me a chance to be a little more comedic. So I think that every role has its beauty, and if acting is a whole picture, you need to be able to find where each color on the palette belongs.
That's really beautiful. That's a really great way to look at it. Do you think that DC, being such a hard city of commuting, metro problems, traffic, zoning issues, even the way the city is laid out, does you think that makes it a harder city to film in, and that's why the film industry, only major movies have brief times of producing and filming scenes here, as opposed to cities like New York or Atlanta, LA, Toronto, etc.?
I think that has more to do with, uh, first of all, if you look at the way the DC area is developing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a lot of the new construction is done at the expense of some of the more historical structures. Um, so you kind of need a certain look to a city,
Right,
and
right.
that can be lost with new construction.
Ah, okay.
But more importantly, I think it's because DC is very much a company town.
Mm-hmm.
The company being the federal government.
Right, right.
So there's a need to diversify the the base of employment there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the film industry could do that,
Mm-hmm.
but it has to be done with the right incentives.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need to get enough steady work
Mm-hmm.
uh, to attract people to do that. You need to do that by moving some of the material uh, either from places like Atlanta or New York or
Mm-hmm.
LA,
Mm-hmm.
or build up some of the many independent local production companies that we
Mm-hmm.
already have around here that could use a little more funding.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how would you describe your next acting projects coming up? Um, I know there are a couple of things on the horizon. What are those roles like?
Uh, well, there's a couple of things coming up. Um, I've been working on how I'm going to present Shine and Swords of Insurgency
Mm-hmm.
for quite a while now. Now that we're beginning to make some progress on him, we'll see how that character
Mm-hmm.
goes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in Arcane Wars, that'll be fun because I get to play my first non-human character.
Mm.
Uh, I get to play an android.
Mm-hmm. That'll be interesting seeing you do that too.
Yeah.
That's why you look kind of stiff in that promo shot, that promo photo. You were looking really stiff and
Yeah, you kind of have to think a little about how they move
right.
and what the thought process is, because unlike a human, um, if your thought process is fulfill your programming,
Mm-hmm.
um, then every move you make is totally based on doing that one thing.
Mm.
But also, are androids really that different? I mean, if they have artificial intelligence like a computer brain telling their metal bodies what to do, and humans have a biological computer in their head telling their bodies what to do.
Mm-hmm.
How are androids and humans different, and where is that line? That's one of
Mm.
the interesting concepts of
Right.
sci-fi, I think.
Right. Yeah, kind of like Data from Star Trek Next Generation and that whole concept and
Yes.
uh-huh.
So I'm also excited about later this year uh, going back to one of the kinds of parts that I tend to get cast in as a cop
Uh-huh.
when we start doing Fatal Deception.
Ah. Which sounds like almost like almost like a fake thing. It's like you take Fatal Attraction and some sort of like deception and like or it's like one of those things where you put two things and put them together, and then it makes uh, a whole other title, but I'm anxious to see that because my first thought comes to mind is like a Jackie Collins kind of drama, romance drama, dirt kind of dynasty-esque, or is it more like it's more like kind of like a 2 hour version of an ID Discovery thing where it's a murder and where there's a kind of like a love hate story that ends in some sort of a foul play, and then they're having to figure it out. So I'm anxious to see what that's going to be like. My next question is, you've done a lot of plays and films and even the web series that require lots of stunts, fighting, and when you're doing those and they have to do multiple takes, is that similar to like when you're doing a play and you have to do the same thing over and over again, night after night? Would you say that there's a correlation there between having to do the same thing over and over again just for one scene, or or is it different that way?
It's different because there isn't quite as much pressure as when you're doing a play and doing it live, because you can't just say, all right, scrap this, start over.
Right, right.
You get one shot at getting
And that's
it right.
it. Now, would you say that's an exciting part of doing a play? Would you say that's an exciting aspect of it, or that when you only have one shot to get it right, you have to really concentrate and make sure it's right?
There are certain things to get yourself in the right headspace to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Kind of like being in the zone. And if you're there, you don't need to worry about it because you're in the zone. If you go in and you're nervous and you overthink it, that's when things can start getting a little shaky.
Yeah.
So that's when they don't overthink it. Do it.
That's sort of like what I started doing when I started making these videos. Just don't overthink it. Just do it. And that's good. That's good advice. Okay, so since you've been able to work in acting while still keeping a day job, what advice would you give to younger people starting out in the acting world? Would you advise them just to keep working like a real day job and do the acting part time, or would you say do the jump in, take the risk, and work nights and do acting during the go to auditions during the day, or do the full leap into it?
I would say make a choice. If you are going to decide to be an actor full time, totally commit. Put going to auditions and working on your craft first. Go to a place where you're going to have more opportunities, but totally commit to what you're doing, because that's the only way that you're going to rise up the ranks. But also realize that you're probably going to need to get some other source of employment while you're doing that, because let's face it, day jobs, shoots where you get like maybe $50 here or there, it's not going to pay the bills. But commit to doing that so that you get enough of that under your belt so that you can pay the bills. On the other hand, if you have other responsibilities to take care of, if you are in a situation where you have to work professionally and you can't afford to live in your car for a year or two, then put acting in kind of like that has to be a secondary priority, but you can still make it work like I have by keeping yourself open to, especially your ears and eyes open to what's going on around you, because you can find out a lot of good information and find a lot of opportunities through the grapevine. Actually, even more so than you can through official notices and stuff like that. And be flexible enough that if you can take a day or two off here or there, cool, run with it. But realize that there's going to be a few limitations to what you can do, but what you want to do in that situation is the things that you do get, hit the ground running on them, and take those all the way.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And I see that you're often frustrated when you don't have an ongoing project. Many actors fill in the gaps between films and with plays where you have a definite start time, definite rehearsal time, and definite performance time. And it seems that now that we've moved back to an area where there's more local theater and you get home at an earlier time, have you considered starting to do local plays again, or are you still is it easier to do the films on more of a part-time basis?
I would love to do a play again.
Mm-hmm.
They're a lot more work than film.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I've not done that is because it is a big time commitment, and since I do a lot of physically demanding roles, I have to put in a lot of gym time. So it would be a way of, okay, how can I balance getting to the gym and keeping myself stunt
right, with a full-time job,
stunt ready, with a full-time job, and fit in going to rehearsals every night too.
And rehearsals can usually go like from 6 to 10 p.m. depending on during most production time, and that's usually like 6 weeks of rehearsals, Monday through Friday usually, right? And then it's usually like two weekends of performances, at least with local community theater.
Are really intense. I'd love to do a play. Whether I can make it work, if I can, I will. But we'll just have to see how that goes.
Okay. Have you ever thought of teaching acting in the evenings with a community college as a way to fulfill the creativity, your creative acting drive, and be able to collaborate with other actors? Have you ever considered that aspect of the career?
I have, and now that I don't have an hour and a half commute, and I've got more time to explore more options. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen.
Okay. And if you and I were to do another, because I don't, if any of my fans have seen, we did a couple of funny videos together. If you and I were to do another video together, either reenacting a famous scene from movies or TV, what would you want us to do next? There's that look. What would you? If maybe some things from the plays you did before that I didn't know you back then when you did those plays, but something like that, or a movie or a TV show that you like, or that you're inspired by, or.
Well, the scene between Alistair Spenlow and Joanna Markham in Move Over, Miss Markham, when they first meet, I think would be good. Okay. A very comical scene.
Okay, that would be good. Good. So it would be comedy then. Okay. So, but no, definitely no, not anything dramatic. No, nothing. Is there enough drama with me on a day-to-day basis? Okay. Oh, okay. So you still have that script, right?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we'll do that in the weeks to come up. So something that'll be something fun to post, and because we haven't done a reenactment or an acting video in quite some time. So. But if you haven't seen ours, we did one of a scene from True Blood, and then we did a scene from My Cousin Vinny. So with that, you have to scroll back a ways on my on the BibaGirrrl YouTube channel to find those, but they're there. And please there's some, because both shows had some pretty foul language, but the scenes are pretty funny. So apologize in advance to any relatives who might be offended for that. But so okay, well that's good. So I thought that would be really fun to interview a working actor in the District, Maryland, Virginia area who's working and combining it with married life and full-time job, and so that's it proves that you can pursue your creative dreams and pursue things that just you don't have to be stuck. That just because you're doing one thing doesn't mean that you can't grow and kind of do things out of the box a little bit to be able to feel fulfilled. So, and just in case you want to see what's going on in the background, this painting here with the flowers. That was my grandmother's painting that was done. She probably did that in like the 40s or 50s. But these other two, that's one of the lights on it. You can't really see really well, but that's one of my paintings back there, and that's one of my sketches back there. So. I switched the computer around this time, so we're seeing a different background. So anyway, well, I hope you all have. Now this will be aired on. I'm going to post this coming Friday. They were filming this actually on Easter Sunday, so I posted one on Friday. I wish you all a happy Easter, but I'm saying it again. And but when you watch this on Friday, it'll be coming up to a new weekend. So I hope you all have a good weekend and take care, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.